You guys are not going to believe this. Well, you probably are. But this story recently, this news item I saw, has really stuck in my craw. Like, it's actually almost unbelievable. I don't know. I guess nothing at this point that nutters do is unbelievable. But this still really, I just feel like if there are any dog nutters, dog lovers, people on the fence, watching this, I feel like this is a really good example of what we are talking about when we say that dogs are literally being held up as more important, more protected by the law than human beings. So there's this bill that is being proposed in Oklahoma that would outlaw homeless shelters in any community, I think they said under 300,000 people, which it turns out in Oklahoma, this is literally every single town and city except for Tulsa and Oklahoma City. So, like, if they're basically like banning any help for human beings in cities less than the two largest cities in the state. So, and okay, so we're gonna focus a little bit on this city here, Norman, because that is where the author of this bill, um, I guess Lisa Standridge, is from. So here it says Senate Bill 484, who is authored by a newly elected state senator, Lisa Standridge, who is a Republican in District 615 from Norman, would prohibit any Oklahoma City with a population of less than 300,000 from providing programs or services to homeless people, including owning or leasing land for the purpose of building or maintaining a shelter. This is absolutely wild to me because I saw another article, I think we'll get to it in a little bit, um, about a new shelter in Tulsa for animal shelter in Tulsa being built for, I think it was like $1.2 million for a dog shelter. But this wants to prohibit any type of building or maintaining of a shelter in any other place in Oklahoma outside of the two largest cities. And I'm sure that's just the beginning. Who knows what kind of things they have in store for, homeless people in Tulsa and Oklahoma City if this is to pass. Okay, so it says it's over in the Senate side right now, so we'll see what happens. I would just have to probably be a no on it when it comes to the floor or comes to committee. So Mama T's is a homeless shelter in Ada, a city with a population of about 16,000. Jeremy Johnson is the shelter's executive director. I guess they don't get any funding for the city. Okay, so I don't want to get too much into the details here on this article, but the reason this is so disgusting to me is because if you look into Norman, Oklahoma, you will find that the city of Norman spends $200,000 a month on the Animal Welfare Center, which we know, of course, means it's the dog shelter, right? Whereas the single, um, oh my God, look at how they phrase this. So they're calling these stray dogs unhoused animals. And they're calling these people unhoused humans. But like the way this is phrased just makes me, you know, it just shows that they are there's a parallel, right? They're making it like a parallel issue, like unhoused humans versus unhoused animals, like it's somehow equivalent here, even though they're spending over 3 times as much money on the animals. Like how anyone doesn't find this completely disturbing and unhinged, I don't think I'll ever be able to understand that. And actually it gets worse. So while I was doing a little bit of research on this, I was actually searching for a comparison between the amount of money that these cities are paying for their animal dog shelters versus homeless shelters. And I came across this Facebook post, whoops, which absolutely, I think this lady, Jonna Jupe, uh, really embodies here kind of the sentiment of these dog nutters in this dog loving country. So, the city spends $200,000 a month on the dog shelter to take care of a little more than 50 animals. Like how incredibly insane. And they're completely mad that um homeless people might get, a meal or a place to sleep for like a third of that cost to the city. Like where do they want these people to go? Like and here this is what really stood out to me too is at least the animals are agreeable to being rehabilitated and rehomed, and they seem more appreciative of what we do. What are you talking about? Like even in your nutter brain, which I know you're not using, but like what metric would you even be using to like measure a dog's agreeableness to being rehabilitated? And like what exactly do you mean even by rehabilitated and rehomed? Like how are you measuring their appreciativeness? Like just these people's brains are so utterly rotten. These people's characters are so completely rotten and disgusting that they have absolutely no concern whatsoever for human beings that are living out on the streets, and believe that dogs are more appreciative and more agreeable than those human beings. Dogs are incapable of feeling appreciative or being agreeable. And here, uh, this guy, Norman Mayor Larry Hikila, wants to see this homeless shelter closed down. And he favors this bill because Norman can't afford to continue supporting the city's homeless population. You are spending 3 times more on a dog shelter. And supposedly it only houses 50 animals. I find that also hard to believe. But even if that's the case, it's almost worse because how are you spending that much money a month on like 50 animals? And I saw a number somewhere when I was doing this research that um, the service or volunteer organization that kind of tracks homelessness in this area counted in Norman 27 children, homeless children who were sleeping on the streets. Um, and these disgusting nutters want to make those children's lives even worse, remove any type of homeless shelter, homeless aid, homeless outreach, shut down the homeless shelter that exists, while continuing to spend, like, no one is even questioning why are you spending $200,000 a month on dogs? No one is even questioning, like, why can't we shut down this worthless animal shelter, euthanize all these stray dogs everywhere, and reallocate that $200,000 a month towards better services, help, and outreach for these homeless people in our community, especially the children? Because as I've said before, a lot of homeless people are individuals who were children that were raised and went through the foster care system and then aged out. And, the minute they turn 18, suddenly foster care ends, there's no resources available. Imagine they like live in Norman and the city is too busy spending $200,000 a month on dogs, worthless, mutant, aggressive, probably bit multiple people, pit bulls, and trying to shut down, a shelter where they might be able to sleep or get food or whatever. I don't know. This just made me so angry. So like even this saying, uh, according to reporting by the Norman Transcript, Standridge said that the first draft of the bill would have unintended consequences if passed as written because the current reading would possibly ban shelters for victims of domestic violence. Like, I don't know how. I feel like I don't have the eloquence and the vocabulary, especially right now because I'm upset, to really explain like how upsetting this is and how demonstrative this is that are of the insane, twisted, backward culture that we live in. Like if you can look at something like this and not think, I don't live in a real functioning, healthy, sane society. Like I don't know what it would take, you know? I mean, luckily, I mean there is some opposition to this. It's unclear. I don't know exactly when this would pass. Um, I hope it won't. Uh, but it's just insane to me that this is like a raging debate, and there's so many people who are like completely okay with cutting off any type of help, any type of resources for actual human beings that are suffering, struggling, especially children. I mean, come on. And yet there is not ever, you're never going to see, I mean, I hope this changes. But as of now, in this current dog nut society, you are not ever going to see this level of, you know, debate or controversy around $200,000 a month on a dog shelter in a town of less than 300,000 people. Like they're claiming this town, this city of Norman, doesn't have the resources and the finances to support homelessness, but they do have resources to support $200,000 a month on a dog shelter. I mean, I want to figure out a way to start bringing bills to defund dog shelters. You know, I want to start figuring out a way to bring forward legislation that would ban the construction of new dog shelters, shut down the existing dog shelters, and outlaw this like no-kill policy and enact really harsh and strict regulations on uh, unleashed dogs, like zero tolerance, like your dog escapes and is picked up by animal control that actually does the job they're supposed to do. It's not being held indefinitely, it's not being put back up for adoption, it's being euthanized, like period. Like if these dog nutters want to talk about the owner, it's the owner's fault, it's the owner's responsibility, it's not the dog's fault. Like, okay, actually bear that cross, like actually take that upon yourself. And if your dog escapes again and your dog's running around off leash, it's euthanized and it's your fault. if you really believe that dog owners are the responsible parties and they should be the ones held responsible, then practice what you preach a little bit here. I'm kind of rambling at this point. This just I c- you know I want to know too. I'm gonna do a little more looking around. I might do a part two of this when I've collected my thoughts a little bit better. I want to see if other states are doing the same thing. This one just popped up on my radar. I want to see how many other states, if any, are doing similar similar things. And I think it would be an interesting exercise to put together comparisons. Like in Norman, I now know they spend $200,000 a month on their 50 animal dog shelter and $68,000 a month on homeless outreach or homeless services. I'd like to look at other cities and compare too. Like, I would be willing to bet that a lot of cities spend substantially more money on their, animal shelters than on actually trying to help, you know, their homeless people. Um, Anyways, I think that's all I have to say about this for now. Um, I'm gonna try to start making more videos again. I feel a little rusty, 'cause I haven't made one in a while. I've just been so busy. Despite what the haters may think, I don't spend all of my time sitting down in front of a computer seething about dogs. I actually have a real life out here that I'm trying to live and enjoy as much as I can without being accosted by some stray dog, I mean. And yeah, so I don't know. Hopefully, this is my first video in a while, so I can start making them again, get back into it a little bit, because I have a lot of topics I want to go over. This one I'd like to, like I said, formulate a little bit better. Um, I just wanted to get this information out there because this truly, like, is just disgusting. Absolutely disgusting.